It's time for a resurgence of war, advanced war, but this time not so advanced and with furries. Introducing Wargroove 2, which means it's a sequel you've all been waiting for. Wargroove really puts the groove back in war, as the story of Wargroove introduces the plot of magical devices called requiems, devices of long time ages but are actually musical instruments. Weapon known as requiem. That's a violin. That's gotta be badass, bro. You are a final boss, but your main weapon is a violin. Musical instruments of death. Which shows how the game got its name. This game, like its predecessors and like its ancestor Advanced Wars, the gameplay is largely unchanged, except for some tweaks and cosmetics. The game is less advanced than Advanced Wars, because there is not as much variety in high-tech equipment or high-tech weaponry comparatively to Advanced War. But in exchange, it leans heavily in its fantasy elements, like seeing different types of classes or military, having sort of a RPG fantasy look and design. Not just from the units, but also the military, going from human to fairies to even gardevoirs. Every military will be completely different and not just look like a recolor or a reskin. But what it lacks in high tech weapon, it gains in environment involvement. Like having special missions where some maps will have certain items on the maps as sort of a treasure hunt to aid your units in their mission or victory, or aid them in using the map to their advantage. Like in one mission, having the map be systematically destroyed, but then being able to use an item that is able to push a unit into the destroyed sections of the map, effectively destroying that unit. Even if your unit is not as strong or weaker than the unit you're fighting. While the game is not fully voiced, it does have some lines where characters have special lines that they speak out, which add a certain extra love to the game and get you more locked in to the characters and the story. Like Lithra, the sturdy commander who is struggling to find her place in her unit, because she is usually seen as sort of the klutz of the group, the Naruto of the game, before getting her special ability. And while the game may not be as strategically complex as Advance in terms of weaponry, it does allow the advantage to customize the difficulty aside from the default settings, where you could customize settings to your liking, whether that be to decrease your own damage while increasing the enemies, or controlling the amount of money you would get each turn from captured bases or villages. And the commander themselves are added with another layer of complexity to the game, as each commander will have their own signature groove, their special technique to change the flow of the game, and they will all be completely different and visually pleasing. Whether that be the standard, as Rhombus groove just increases his strength for one turn, but Litra's groove gives her a strategic advantage on the map by placing her units while causing damage to other units. Or Pistol, whose special groove is causing a chain reaction damage to connecting units. While it may not be as advanced, it's still complex. The game also has another layer of complexity by having the option to see different information on the map, like the terrains themselves, and not just a short detail, but an actual detailed explanation on how not only defense is given to a unit that's stationed there, but also gives you the advantage of being able to give it more defense, where even if it's a superior unit or even the same unit, the damage will not be the same because they are on that terrain. And with terrain being majority of either grasslands, forests, or mountains, they give a variety of range of movement for your units. So be more careful in planning where the position, even 2 steps ahead or 2 turns ahead of where the enemy is going to position themselves, and where you can counteract. But these are just some of the few things I've seen in just 3 hours of the time I played this game. So this is not a full review, but I think I've seen enough to make an opinion on. As this is a turn-based tactics game, sometimes you don't want to sit through the animation, but still have the option of the animation. So there is no skip or fast forward button. So sometimes if you accidentally click on a mission or want to redo a mission, you'd have to sit through the story and can't skip past it. And those are my thoughts and impression on Wargroove 2. While nothing overly major or exceptional about the game, is decent enough that is worth a pickup, especially as it comes on the Game Pass. If you're a fan of the genre of tactics, turn-based art style, this is definitely a game worth picking up, just for the nostalgia alone. As a fan of the turn-based combat genre, if you're looking for something a bit more challenging to really spice up your life, check out this video.